welcome to Portsmouth InSites. I'm your host, Monique Bass. Today's show is all about progress. Progress that has taken place in the city of Portsmouth over the last 10 years. Progress in the quality of our businesses and progress in the quality of our neighborhoods. You know, the city of Portsmouth is emerging as an ideal location for technology-based companies. I recently sat down with Tom Mastalio, CEO of Mimic, one of the fastest growing modeling and simulation companies here in the region. Tom, explain what type of business Mimic is.
Yeah, well, we consider ourselves a high technology company. We're a small business, of course, about 80 folks, but our focus for that technology is the modeling and simulation industry, particularly Defense Department, but also we are beginning to expand in the commercial sector.
To the novice, please explain what is modeling and simulation.
It could range from anything from what some people might call virtual reality or gaming environments, so some of the things you see behind me on my screen that we work on, where the computer user or the trainee is interacting via a screen, all the way up to a mathematical model of some phenomena, say the way an airplane flies or a car operates or where traffic flows, say out here on 164. Something like that. But essentially, it's the ability to use computers to run those sorts of models, and that gives you a couple of capabilities. One, of course, is to do it more quickly, and secondly, to take into account a lot of different variables. I mean, there are some models and simulations you can just do with paper and pencil. I mean, in some ways, a spreadsheet gives you a model. Because there's a mathematical formula that computes for you. But the idea and the power of it, particularly towards the end of that spectrum that I'm talking about, where you want to use it to help make management decisions, what you get is the ability to run multiple iterations, and you can change conditions and see what the impact would be.
Why is modeling and simulation an important industry in the future?
Our buzz line for Mimic is we're architects of change. It allows a company or a government agency to look at how they're doing things today, to model how they're doing things today, and that allows you to verify and validate that your model works right, and then change conditions and look at how it's going to operate in the future. I don't know what kind of car you drive, but if you could do something in that car by, say, changing the engine to an electric one, you could simulate, what your gas consumption would be, your efficiency. So it's not only important for industry. I think it's important for government, for almost any operation that is complex. I think we're going to get to the point people will even use it in their homes to figure out, maybe what they're going to have for dinner or what the best route is to drive to pick up their children from school, these sorts of things.
What are your primary areas of service?
Well, Mimic is divided into really two business units, two profit-generating business units or revenue-generating. One is services, what we call technical services, and these are individuals that a lot of them use modeling and simulation, but some of them might be just doing information technology or knowledge management. But the people in our services business unit are on site at government locations. We're headquartered here in Portsmouth, but some of those folks work up at the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. Some work down in Atlanta. We have some individuals out at Fort Leavenworth, Kentucky, which is Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, which is out near Kansas City. And we also have in a number of the different offices, the military call them codes, out at Joint Forces Command. A few downtown at the Joint Forces Command compound there. Most of them out here in the North Suffolk area, supporting the training and the experimentation divisions there. Now, probably of greater interest is our technology division, where we build simulation technology. And what you're probably interested in is where do we, where does that technology work? The key areas we we try and support our training applications. But the second area is management decisions. Right now, we have a significant business sector in the logistics area. What we have been able to do, we have been able to leverage work that we've done for the U.S. Army to build them models of their port operations, how they deploy their units through a port. We've taken the underlying algorithms and tools we built for that and created a MIMIC proprietary tool set called SEALS, Scalable End-to-End Logistics Simulation. Bit of a mouthful, but we like SEALS, it's kind of catchy. And we're using that right now to build a simulation for the Port of Virginia, for VPA, the Port of Hampton Roads really for VPA, that they will use to do analysis of security of the port. Where are the threats? In the training arena, done a number of projects in the medical domain. One of them you see behind me is a multiplayer online game for distributed medical teams. These are the sort of teams that would respond during a natural or even a man-caused disaster that resulted in mass casualties. For example, these sorts of teams deployed to Haiti during the earthquake and down to New Orleans during the hurricane. But it allows people who are distributed that aren't at the same facility to interact via a virtual world in the internet. Other medical applications, we're building a training system for combat medics of how to handle the scene of mass casualties, say from an IED. These are the sort of bombs and mines that our soldiers and Marines are encountering in Afghanistan, for example. But that same technology, we believe, can be used to train emergency medical personnel, EMTs.
Tom, you've mentioned working with the Virginia Port Authority. What are some of the other major projects that you've worked on?
We've done some work that is probably, a little harder to explain. It gets a little technical, where we have built simulations of the designs of information technology systems. I like to draw the analogy with buildings. In a building, you hire an architect to, make a plan. But nowadays, you can take that plan and you can create a 3D model and sort of simulate the building, walk through it, maybe even run the power and the utilities through it. We have done the same thing with designs for computer systems and network systems, been able to build simulations before those networks and those computer systems are built. And we call that our EASY, Executable Architecture Simulation Capability. So EASY, EAS-C. We have also worked to do a project, and it's still sort of in the research stage, to use gaming technology, specifically an Xbox. If you're familiar with that, the Xbox is the Microsoft game console, but to create on that Xbox exercises for patients with cognitive dysfunction. A specific use case was traumatic brain injury, the sort of injuries that are occurring in our soldiers and Marines as a result of these IEDs, again, in Afghanistan or Iraq. We've got some interest from the Secretary of Technology's office to maybe promote that and go to the next level. We built a prototype, and now we're looking for some support to go to the next level and build a fully useful system that could be used in therapy.
You mentioned earlier the proposed closing of JEFCOM. Can you please explain how you have repositioned MIMIC to weather the storm?
Our location out here, and one of the reasons we chose to be out here, is because Joint Forces Command is a significant customer of ours, but it's not even a majority customer. It's about 20% of our business as a company. But it was mainly to be close to them because our employees could then come back and forth and make it easy. And I think that what needs to happen, not just for us, but for the modeling and simulation in Hampton Roads, is we really need to kind of expand our horizons. And the Mimic, as a company, is trying to do that by looking at commercial applications. And we're very proud of this port contract we just signed. We just initiated within the last couple of weeks, because that's our really first major non-defense contract. We've had other smaller non-defense contracts. We've done some work in the medical arena and consulting with Eastern Virginia Medical School, outside the region, help other regions and centers look at setting up something similar to VMAS, things like that. But we've hired in our marketing staff a commercialization manager whose full-time job is to get familiar with the technology we have, some of which I've described to you, and go out and seek commercial clients. The other thing, we're beginning to look at the potential of expanding into foreign markets and selling some of our technology and capabilities that would be developed here into places like the European Union or the Middle East, or particularly the Far East.
Although you're located in Portsmouth, can you please tell me how Mimic can be a regional partner and benefit other businesses?
We partner extensively with other defense contractors on projects. And those include a lot of the big guys: Northrop Grumman, General Dynamics, SAIC, Dynamics Research Corporation, those sorts of folks. But on the other hand, we also try and involve other companies and other regional capabilities in our projects where possible. We've done a number of projects in the small business innovative research arena, which is government funding to help companies like ours build technology. But almost every one of those, we've had at least one academic partner. And those have included Old Dominion University. They've included William and Mary. On some of our development projects, we've had Norfolk State as a partner. So our partnership is both on the academic side and on the company side. Within the region, we've brought in other small businesses on our projects, such as Simis, another Portsmouth M&S company. Reed Integration, they're right across the hall here. They're another Portsmouth company as well, and another consultants out of the peninsula and out of Virginia Beach. So I think we're trying to do that. We're trying to communicate with them. We try and identify partners that we can do. They are contributing partners. I think the other thing we'd like to be able to try to do is engage business partners, people for whom we're delivering either services or technology in the region. That's a harder challenge. We're working to get there. I think a lot of people in this region are looking at that. And I think from VMAS to other modeling and simulation companies, we're trying to investigate how we could best apply this technology to the industries that are here.
What do you feel is the biggest misperception about modeling and simulation?
I sometimes fear that people think simulation are going to be some sort of software tool that's just going to give them the answer, kind of an expert system. You know, I got this problem, you know, and there's a simulation for that, and I'm going to run the conditions through that simulation. It's going to tell me what to do. What really simulations are is they're a decision support tool. To get in kind of the technical speak, they allow the decision makers to propose conditions under which they want to see what would happen. And then they can go back and they can change those. They can run alternatives. So it helps them make a better decision rather than give them the decision.
Tom, thank you so much for taking this time to talk to me a little bit about Mimic. You're doing some very exciting things here, and I'm looking forward to hearing about even more great projects that you're going to be working on.